Welcome back to the channel, everybody, for this episode 14 here on Monteith with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, we have moved into June, and we are standing out here on our grass field because I was out here checking it out because I suspected it would be ready to harvest, and it is. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. Just a couple things to update you on. Now, it's been a couple months since we were here, but all I did was look after the animals, kept them fed, kept the government inspectors happy. Speaking of which, we did not get a fine for chicken overcrowding. It did just end up being a warning this time. We did get the chickens moved in time, so all good there. But like I said, I just looked after the animals, sold the cheese, made sure that our productions were looked after, the ones we have, and as a result of that, if we go in here and take a look, I was able to put all of the funds towards paying off our leased equipment. We didn't have that much, and none of it was particularly high value. The high value one is still sitting there. As you can see, that is our seeder. And you can see our bank account is still sitting at $106,000, and we could pay that one off, but I just sat on that bank balance for the time being, just to make sure we had funds, operating capital, I guess you could call it. But that's all I need to update you on. Now, we are going to take and harvest this grass, but we're going to do it a little bit differently this time. I again want to turn it to silage because we have a lot of hay bales still. I didn't sell any off just so we could keep using our grass for additional silage. And if we go in and look at the shop here, what we're going to do is, yes, this one right here, we're going to rent this whole crop header, I think it's called. And with that, we should be able to mow the grass and blow it right into our wagon, our trailer, and haul it to our ag bag production. So get everything done in one step. So that is what we're going to give a try. And as you might guess, we are going to do that in a cinematic here. So let me get back to the farm, get that header rented and picked up and everything organized. And I will meet you back at the field here and we'll do ourselves a cinematic. So sit back and enjoy the ride. I hope you enjoyed that cinematic. All of our grass has now been harvested, and we got 380,000 liters that we are currently converting to silage. Now it's just after lunch here on the farm, and as you can see, I'm in the 9190. I've got it warming up, and I am filling up our slurry tanker with digestate. There we go. It is full. And we're going to do something a little different when it comes to fertilizing our grass fields. Now, up to this point, we've been using a grass roller to get our last fertilizing state. But as you may recall, our grass roller decided to get a mind of its own and wanted to travel across the map. So we ended up having to sell it, and I haven't replaced it yet. Now we have a fair bit of digestate, like 400,000 liters. So I did a little test to see if we could use digestate to fertilize our grass field. Now, of course, I know we can fertilize our grass with digestate, but the issue is here on the other side of this grass field, or in between our two fields, there is a policy or a regulation stating that we can't spread any kind of fertilizer, natural or chemical, within 14 meters of a waterway. And now I took this to be a waterway here, just off to my right. But I did a little test, and apparently the government does not consider that to be a waterway. So we can get away with putting digestate on. So that's what we're going to do. So we don't need to purchase a grass roller right now. And I'll get zoomed out here a little bit. And away we go. Now, we might not be able to avoid buying a grass roller altogether. We might be just postponing it to the fall, because there's also a regulation, as you may recall, about spreading slurry in September through December. Now that regulation specifically calls out slurry and nothing else. So I am going to do a little test to see if we can get away with spreading digestate in those months. But if we can't, then we'll have to go back to a roller. And then I guess on any crop fields that we're trying to fertilize at that time of year, we'll have to use a chemical fertilizer. So I will do that test this fall to find out. I'm hoping, because it specifically just calls out slurry, we can continue to spread our digestate. It's probably not within the spirit of the regulation, but hey, if you want to prevent any kind of liquid fertilizer being spread in those months, then you better write the rule that way. Now, once we get done this, oh no, there is actually one other thing we need to do. I was going to say, once we're done this, we won't have anything to do until harvest time here on the farm. But there is one thing we need to take care of before we jump ahead. We have potential for another overcrowding situation, but this time not on the chickens, it's the sheep, our goats, I should say. Our goat pen is full, and we are very close to the limit there. And as the animals mature, they require more space. So I think we're going to have to sell off some goats. I can't forget to do that, or I'll have the government remind me. But then once we do that, after these grass fields have been fertilized, then I think we will jump to harvest. I don't think we have anything else to do between now and then. This is what, June? I can't remember if it's a month or two. I think it's two at the most anyway. Then we'll have to crank up the old harvester again. Now I did kind of come across a wee problem that we may need to address in the future. When I did the cinematic on this field, obviously I was using coarse play and everything worked just fine. But when I went to take over and just manually do the other field on my own, I could not steer with that all crop header on that particular um, forage harvester. It didn't want to turn for me. It's like the header, I think, was down a little low. I don't know why Courseplay had no issue. I did try a different forage harvester with it, and it worked just fine. So if we end up doing that more in the future, gonna have to do something there. I tried a different manufacturer, and it did the same thing on that harvester. It's just like it sits just a tick too low for that header. Fortunately, that pack does have some other harvesters in it that they're just a little bit newer, but they're still older that we could use. But we're going to have to come up with some extra money for that if we want to do that. But other than that, it worked just dandy. Boy, that texture can be a little tricky to see, I must say. I might have to go back, look at the actual soil map to make sure I didn't miss any. I don't know if there's a angle here where I can see a little better. Now, eventually, I do want to put precision farming and start using that, but we're going to have to be in the position that we can upgrade some of our equipment before we take that step. For example, this tanker here is not got the sensors on it we need to use with precision farming, so we'd have to upgrade that. Neither of our tractors have the ability to have the crop sensors on, and they don't have a 3-point link on the front, so we could use that sensor. So we'd need to do something on that regard too. So I guess I'm just wasting digestate there while I turn. But not in the too distant future. I'd like to get that put in place, start using that technology. Down to about a half a tanker, just a little over. I don't think we're going to get away with doing both fields with one tanker load, but not far off. Anyways, you know what? I will leave you there. I'll get this finished up, and I'll meet you in the yard, and we'll take a look at our goat pen and make a decision of what we're going to do there so we can avoid the ire of the government inspectors. So I'll catch up with you in a little while. Well, I had forgotten about a mod I had installed that would be perfect for this situation. And so you can see I've got the HUD on, and if you look at the mini map, we can see where we fertilize, like in precision farming. And I had totally forgot about that. Obviously a PC only mod, but very handy for this type of situation. Now there is a way too to zoom that. I can't remember the control for that. Just 1 second here, we'll get to the end here. So if we zoom it up, it might make it a little bit more useful. But the other thing is you can not only see fertilizer, you can look at lime, pretty much all of the different field states you can see in your mini map. Isn't that cool? No, was it shift 9? Yeah, it was shift 9. And then we can zoom it up too. That makes it a little bit more useful. So I can don't have to open up the map display. I can see where I've been on my mini map. Isn't that a cool mod? I really like it. I just have to remember I have it installed. I had totally forgot about that. So I thought I'd bring you back in and show you that because I thought pretty cool. Okay, now I will finish up, I promise, and we'll meet you in the yard and deal with that goat pen. See you in a bit. Well, we've got our grass fields all fertilized, and you can see we're standing here in our goat pen. And if we take, hey, how rude! I was standing right on the trigger. You know what there, buddy? I'm selling sheep or selling goats. You might want to keep that in mind when you're headbutting me. Anyways, if we go in and look at the government report here, they have determined that we need 297 meters squared of space for our goats, and we have basically in round numbers 300 available. So we're within compliance. But if we go here and look at our sheep pen, you can see it's full. We have 153 out of 153 animals, but there's a number of young ones in there. And as they mature, they require more space. So I think what we're going to do, basically at 9, or what is it, 8 months? Yeah, 8 months and above, they'll start making milk. So what we want to do is have this pen full as we can of mature animals. So I think we'll sell off our youngest ones here. We'll just have to sell them locally. There's no animal dealer that I found on the map, so we'll just take the hit. So we'll sell those ones off. Not worth a tremendous amount of money, but it's more about cleaning out space so we don't get fined. And we'll sell those ones off. There we go. Now that should ensure that we stay within compliance and we don't get fined. At least that's the plan. Actually, rather than jumping the fence, why don't we use the gate here? All right. So I have checked our crop fields and we do have some harvesting to do next month. Our Spelt should be ready. So I'll carry on looking after the animals and we'll meet you next month and we'll get some harvesting done. So we'll see you in a little bit. Well, we have moved into July and you can see our Spelt is ready to harvest behind us. And we're going to check the moisture here in just a moment. But before I do, some of you may have been wondering why I didn't use steering assist while I was putting that Digestate down. So I didn't have to worry about overlap or missing portions, that sort of thing. And the reason is very simple. It doesn't work with that mod. So let's just say don't have GPS in that tractor. Yeah, for some reason the menu won't even come up with that tractor, and our other tractor doesn't have the horsepower to pull it. So just have to do it by hand. But anyways, let's go and check the moisture on this here field. I am not expecting good news because it hasn't rained in a while. 7.3. Okay, let's take a look at our table here. Yeah, actually, that's grade C. Okay, well, but if there is some good news, it is the fact that there is some rain in the forecast for this afternoon. We take a look here. You can see there's rain this afternoon, break tomorrow, and then it's supposed to rain again later in the month and the beginning of August. So we can actually harvest this into August. So we can afford to sit and wait. And actually in August, our canola will become ready. So we'll have that to harvest as well. So it's the old sitting and waiting on the weather game here again. And once again, too dry, not too wet. So I will just carry on here and look after the animals. And see, I have all the equipment out of the shed and all ready to go. So as soon as the conditions are favorable, we are good to go. But in the meantime, I'll just continue to look after the animals and I will bring you back at harvest time. Well, it is the next day here on the farm, and you can see we are nowhere near harvesting. I'm standing here in the workshop watching it rain. And in fact, we got a fair bit of rain. It rained yesterday afternoon as forecasted, and it rained through the night, and it's raining this morning. And I went out and checked the crops, and we have moved up into the B area from C. And if we look at the forecast here, we're in for another bout of rain this afternoon. So, you know what? If we're really lucky, we may actually work our way up to A. It is asking a lot. We need another 4%, but kind of depends what that rain for tomorrow looks like. But things are looking better anyways. Now, another piece of good news is, just due to some fortunate timing, it was nothing that I intentionally did, we were able to sell over $40,000 worth of cheese this morning. Now, about once every month, we get to make 2 pallets of the Gorgonzola cheese, and that's just due to the way our milk production goes. And then it's usually about every 5 or 6 weeks we get to make a pallet of aged goat cheese. Well, I must have been a little bit late turning the production on because we had enough goat milk there to actually make 2 pallets. So we had 2 pallets of goat cheese to sell this morning and 2 pallets of Gorgonzola, and that equated to over $40,000. That's really why I wanted to bring you in, to let you know that, and that I will be paying off our cedar, and it will still leave us with a little bit more than $140,000 in the bank. So far, nothing but good news here on the farm. But really, this time, that I will leave you until we can harvest. But now, barring any unforeseen circumstances, again, we will catch up with you when we are ready to harvest. Well, guys, it is July 3rd. Woke up to a clear, sunny day. And if we take a look at the forecast here, sunshine through today and all of tomorrow. Normally would be good news at harvest season, but we could have used a little more rain. We did not make it up to grade A. As close as we got was 11.5%, and we needed 12. And we've actually dipped down now to 10.5 overnight and with the sun and wind this morning. So we are going to go ahead and harvest it. It's a 9% hit we take on that, but it's way better than having C grade crop where we were sitting. So we are going to take care of that harvest in a cinematic. So I'll get this equipment moved to the field and we'll get started. Sit back and enjoy the ride. there we go. That job is done. 22,000 liters of grade B spelt we have for a cash crop. So we'll hang on to that and sell it at peak price. Now we need to get the straw off the field, but that will have to wait until next episode because we are out of time for this one, unfortunately. So that's where we will pick it up. Right here, right where we left off, we'll come in and take care of that straw and likely the canola harvest. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on Sudbury, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.